Brass Golem beta recently went live on mainnet.
Yes.
How did the launch go, and what is Brass Golem?
So Brass Golem is the first iteration of the hopefully long line of golems we want to produce over the coming years. And as for the launch, that was like well beyond our expectations, well above what we think is possible and will happen. And I think that the most exciting part of it is that we have a couple hundreds of people on mainnet right now, and because of that, you're actually already able to use Golem to do something useful. As in testnet, that was not that easy because of the low number of nodes. So Brass Golem at the moment is the centralized market for computing power that you can buy from other peers to do some CGI rendering using Blender software.
And what are the next steps to move out of beta? Are you waiting for scaling solutions, or what?
We deal with the scaling now by using transaction batching, so I think we are good for now. Obviously, once we are able to use Ethereum blockchain in a more intense way, that will be very good for what we are developing, but for now I think we are good. So what is left to do now is a part just improving user experience, solving some minor issues, is adding consent service that will add an additional level of security to the parties involved in a Golem network. And after that, we are also working on a next significant things we want to add. This is a GPU support and also license support to be able to run proprietary software on Golem.
How does a new user start sharing their computer resources and earning GNT tokens?
As well, this is quite simple because we try to prepare our software in as friendly way as possible. So in principle, you just need to download the installer and install that on your computer. So we support Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. Obviously, as this is a network, peer-to-peer networking, sometimes you will need to solve some port forwarding issues. So you either have to have public IP, or you need to forward your ports, or you can use UPnP. And the last solution, obviously, is the easiest for most of the people.
What are the economics of the token? How are tokens allocated for users that provide their resources? Are tokens minted, or what is the flow of tokens for Golem?
So this is a peer-to-peer market. So people get token if they do useful job for people ordering that job. So basically the flow of tokens is with the constant supply of the token is from requesters, so people who are in need of doing some computing, to providers, so people who are renting their computers to them.
And what are the main use cases? You mentioned CGI.
At the moment we support CGI rendering using Blender. Blender is the most popular open source rendering engine. You can use it for creating photorealistic images, animations, even kite rendering.
If you had to imagine the next use case besides CGI rendering, what would you think would be the next market that you think would make sense to go into?
There are a number of markets where it makes sense to go to. Apart from going deeper into rendering, and a number of scientific and financial use cases. Obviously, machine learning is this exciting thing we also want to explore in the near future.
We heard that you were contributing to the Ethereum community fund.
That's correct.
How do you expect to contribute to this fund, and what's your thoughts on it?
Okay, so Ethereum Community Fund is basically a non-profit initiative. So we are just contributing Ether, and with the aim for the ECF to use that for the greater good of the Ethereum ecosystem. And I believe that initiative as a kind of supplementary action to what Ethereum Foundation does is quite needed. It can not only help Ethereum Foundation with dealing with things that they don't have bandwidth for, but also I hope that Ethereum Community Fund can be a kind of leading projects forum to interact within Ethereum community.